Welcome to our YouTube channel, Stories of Catholic Saints. In the story of Saint Pedro Poveda, you probably remember that we mentioned a woman named Maria Josefa Segovia, who was a good collaborator of Father Poveda, and she was one of co-founders of the Teresian Association. Today's story is about life of Maria Josefa Segovia. Maria Josefa Segovia Morón was born on October 10, 1891 in Jaén, Spain. She is the second child in a family of 10 children. She had an excellent educational background. This was very special and extremely rare for a woman at that time. After graduating from Granada, she attended the Superior School of Education in Madrid. At that time, this school was very famous and trained young people to work for many different positions in the field of education. They could even hold the position of educational inspector, which was a newly established position. In 1913, she was one of the first graduating classes. And it should be also known that she was the only woman in Jaén to have graduated from this prestigious school with distinction. Then she returned to Jaén, her hometown, and in there God invited her to join his great project. In Jaén, Josefa met Father Poveda, who was looking for someone to direct the St. Teresa Academy opened in Jaén. He heard about her excellent educational background, so he tried to persuade her to get the post of academic director. And she accepted it. That year, she just was 22 years old, not having any experience for management. Letting a young woman manage an academy for teachers training is correct or not? Taking on such a big responsibility is too challenging for Josefa, who has been only 22 years old, isn't it? Father Pedro was not wrong. Sister Josefa at that time, although very young, performed very well in the management of the academy. People who have come into contact with Ms. Josefa are impressed with her cheerful, energetic, straightforward and very friendly personality. In particular, she has exuded a pedagogical habitude while communicating and working. In 2016, Pablo Moreno made a film about the life of Father Pedro Poveda, which won the Mirabile Dictu Award for Best Film. There are some passages about Josefa. Let's have a look at them. Josefa had a boyfriend who was a doctor, a high position in society, and loved her passionately. Her boyfriend, Manolo, acted like supporting her working in St. Teresa's Academy, because that would make her happy. Actually, Manolo did not seriously share her feelings and respect social and humanistic values in her job. According to Manolo, women should only focus on taking care of their family and should not go out to work. He believes that he could give her a rich and comfortable life as a queen's life. His perspective was different from Josefa, who always aimed to contribute to those who were suffering from injustice in that society where women's voices were never heard. Ms. Josefa understood that they had the ideal disparity. In addition, she wished to spend all the time working at the Teresa Academy to help train Catholic female teachers. She also wished to expand the activities of the Teresa Association. She's supposed to break up with him. After that, Ms. Josefa had a very difficult time facing great pressure from her family. There was a campaign to smear Father Poveda at this time. The articles deliberately provided false information and stories to mislead him. This was intended to put pressure on Father Poveda to close the Teresa Institutes. They succeeded in making Mr. Manuel Segovia, Josefa's father, believed it. He wanted her to quit her job, return to a normal life, to get married and have children. Faced with pressure from her family, Jo wanted to give up her job at the Teresa Institute to get married. She came to see Father Poveda when she learned that the academy might be closed under pressure from opponents, who advocated de-Christianization of education and wanted to limit women's participation in the field of education. She made a reverse decision, which was to give up her plans to get married, and devoted herself to the activities of the academy and the Teresian Association. The Teresian Association joins the baptized together to put their faith into practice and contribute to human development and social changement by educational and cultural factors. They participate in the evangelizing mission through their professional and family responsibilities. In 1923, Sister Josefa went to Rome to present the association to Pope Pius XI, to ask for the approval of the Church. On January 11, 1924, the association received official approval from the Holy Father. Previously, In 1917, the government and church authorities of Japan recognized the legitimacy of the association. Sister Josefa always tried her best for the association's activities. Together with the first pioneer members, they were testimonies for opening a new way of preaching and proclaiming faith. Father Pavetta praised her in a letter, which was sent to her on the occasion of her 31st birthday. He wrote, "Grace made you a new creature because, even at the human level, God perfected you and elevated you to the extent that you do not look the same as before." He stated that she embodied the spirit of Teresian association while praising her growth in virtue and faith. He wished her continue her way until the day God take her to heaven. In 1919 she was elected president of the Teresian Association. She continued to be president, dedicating her life to working for God until the day she died. She is very devoted to the Virgin Mary. She prayed Mother to guide her and always looked to her as a perfect example to follow. She wrote to members,
"Don't lose the habit of living with Mary, being guided by Mary, and being accompanied by Mary. Let Mary's life become our life."
When the civil war in Spain broke out, she also received news of the martyrdom of Father Pedro Pavetta. An atmosphere of anxiety pervaded the members of the association. They worried about their own fate and asked himself if the association would disintegrate and disband. All people confused and didn't know what to do. Josefa, who was in Africa at the time to establish a new school, wrote to the association's members,
"We will continue the work."
Her perseverance and strong will lifted everyone's spirits. The Spanish Civil War lasted from 1936 to 1939. It can be said that this civil war was a preview for a more fierce and bloody war on a worldwide scale that immediately followed. Second World War, 1939 to 1945. It was an intense period lasting in the war, followed by deprivation and poverty of the post-war years in the country and Europe. Sister Josefa worked hard to bring together the people who had been separated by the conflict. Hence the establishments and projects were reopened, and new projects were started. Despite suffering from stomach pain, she still tries to complete her duties. She cared for people around her with a kind and delicate heart. She encouraged women to pursue university studies, regularly contacted and exchanged letters with members of the Teresian Association abroad. Those have helped members strengthen their faith and bond with the association's ideals. Like Father Pedro, Sister Josefa preferred attitudes of peace, reconciliation and humility. They followed the example of the holy teacher, Jesus, who taught, "Come to me and learn from me, because I am gentle and humble in heart." She prayed to Jesus,
"Let everyone see me can see you."
She got Mary as her guide and point of reference. At the end of her life, before going to the hospital for stomach surgery, she wrote 2 words in her desk calendar,
"Fiat,"
which was Mary's response to the angel of God who came to announce the mystery of the Incarnation to her. On March 29, 1957, in Madrid, she left to return to Father home in heaven peacefully and humbly as the response of fiat that she had always said to God throughout her life. The canonization process for Sister Josefa began in 1966. In 2005, she was ordained venerable by Pope Benedict XVI. The miracle for beatification was investigated and approved by a medical board on January 15, 2009. Now, the process of beatification still goes on. In my opinion, our love and respect for a saint come not only from the recognized titles, but also from life and what she did. For me, what I admire most about Josefa is her spirit of commitment and determination. God chose her to help Father Pedro Pavetta to carry out God's works. Like Father Pavetta, Josefa's source of strength and courage comes from her faith in God. From her love and devotion to our Holy Mother Mary, whom she always sets as the model of her life. It was from this source of strength so that Sister Josefa was able to refuse the luxurious, comfortable life available to her to engage in hardship and danger to live for her ideals. She encourages and helps women to go to university, thereby giving them a position and voice in society. She went to poor areas in the world to open schools for children and show them how to cultivate the land. Following Father Pavetta's way, she aimed to help disadvantaged groups and vulnerable people through education and culture. And she did that all her life. Her living faith, which had become the courage for her to commit herself, makes us, believers, had to ask ourselves, I believe, but what have I done to demonstrate my faith?